Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:34 p.m. Let's jump into roll call. Eric Bennett? Here. Joy Bryant? Here. Maddie Crowell? Here. Julia Felici? Here. Shelby Hamblin? Here. Alex Horning? Dr. Martin Kennedy? Here. Lacey Lumpkins? Here. Stephanie Tretchell? Here. Renee Skiles? Here. Patrick Stanton? Here. Jeanette Webster? Here. All right, moving into section 3, the approval of this week's agenda. You can all review this real quick. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this week's agenda. So moved. Eric moves, Maddie seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving into the approval of last week's minutes. Can you all review that, please? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve last week's minutes. So moved. Eric moves, Dr. Kennedy seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving into the reports for this week. I don't have any reports for you.
I don't have any, but I'll move into this. But I do want to just take a chance to introduce the interim dean, Dr. Bill Schaefer, since he is here. So,
Thanks, Joey.
Yep. Nope, I don't have any report.
Moving into public comment first call. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing none, moving into section 7. Huh? Oh, I did see something. Alex.
I just wanted to give you a heads up. I know we have an empty seat. I went to BAP the other day, which is Bay Apple Psi, which is the Honors Accounting and Finance Club, and I did a brief presentation on them on what S&A is and let them know that we have an open position. So I'm hoping that we'll get some applications for this spot in the next couple of days and hopefully have them approved by the next public meeting on Tuesday.
Thank you, Alex. Any further public comment? Seeing none, moving into section 7, subsection A, voting on supplemental funding request 1823, the student appreciation of 2018 in the amount of $18,000. Table's open for discussion. Yes, 7.
This is just updated with all like the wildcat went back in, or nope. This is still just that same document.
Maddie?
So I really like the idea of this event. I support it. But I have a really hard time with the amount, $18,000 for one headliner. And I personally don't know who this person is. I know that the presenter last week said that there were 900 votes total, or for this person, or well, I can't remember which one it was. But I don't know. To me, I just have a really hard time with this one, especially since in the past we've kind of not fully supported these types of things, like with the t-shirt thing. Yeah.
Jeanette?
I personally just think $18,000 is a lot of money in general, no matter what it's for, who it's going to, etc. I think that's just the conservative part of me. However, I'm not saying I totally decline or totally accept this, but I think it's $10,000 just for the headliner, I believe. That's $10,000. It's just a lot. It's a lot of money. I'm kind of having a hard time justifying that much money when we're trying to send other students on professional development trips.
Stephanie?
I agree with you there, but this is like a fun day for all students on campus, and so anyone can go to this, and so it's not going to be benefiting like 12 students for professional development. It'll just be a fun student activity day for everyone. one, so it's open to everyone and free for them. So I think that's why it's more expensive, because they're not going to be charging tickets for it. So I think that's just it's more inclusive of it.
Julia?
I understand that it's for everyone, but most people don't know who the headliner is, at least from what I've heard, so that's where it's hard to me. So how many students are actually gonna want to go for each?
Alex? Or Patrick?
So sometimes when these conversations become, if there's a quandary over what to do, it might be good to go back to the assessment tool, the supplemental funding request. And you can pass this around. But the first priority is supposed to be, of course, the committee can choose anything they want, but this is the guideline. The first priority is a request that pertains to conditions that were not reasonably anticipated at the time of the base funding request, such as equipment, destruction, or replacement equipment that was lost, destructive, premature failure. Second is opportunities to expand or enhance programs that do not result in the addition of non-student payroll positions. So I think my read on this would be it doesn't meet the first priority in that this is a base funded area. Student Appreciation Day has been going on for a long time, but it would meet the second, right? Oh wait, the addition of non-student payroll positions. So it's not a payroll position, but it is paying up, but it's paying. And then down here, impact the participating students. It probably would rate pretty high on that. So I just think it comes maybe a nudge to look at it that way.
The only piece on my end is just as a reminder that the purview of the committee is really to determine the funding, not necessarily to review what they're doing. And what I would, especially when we're looking at programs in those areas, is that I would defer to the people who are doing that, since this is their area, that they're going to know better than we would on those in terms of bringing the presenters, all those types of pieces. They do a lot of research into that. So I wouldn't necessarily spend a lot of time on our end determining whether or not this individual headliner is worth that money, but more the program itself. I want to see us going down that path.
Alex?
I was just going to say, in the past couple of years, Student Appreciation Day has grown, at least in my opinion, almost exponentially. There's been added programs and activities, and as we've talked about a lot before, student development in the terms of like a student life aspect of what we have here on campus actually attributes a lot to retention and people actually staying and feeling connected with the campus and actually staying to finish out their degree. So with that, I would actually motion $10,000 to support a program that will help enhance the student life. It's not the full amount, but it does hit that third priority and is something that I personally believe would be beneficial to the students because it does enhance our ability to retain students, which is something that Central has historically been having an issue with.
There's a motion on the table for $10,000. Is there a second? 70 seconds. Is there any discussion? Shelby?
I guess a general question that relates to the motion. What's the precedence for funding this through S&A?
There's a strong precedence in terms, not for this specific one, because again, this is the first time we brought a headliner in, but S&A dollars have been used specifically for large type programs like this before. Again, keeping in mind that one of the areas that's base funded is homecoming, which again, we bring in a large headliner, so it's applicable within our funding.
And as far as the notoriety of the entertainer, Macklemore played here right before he was big, won the Grammy, and so back then very few people had heard of him. I'm not saying that'll be the case this time, but it was always a possibility. Sure, we'd like to go.
Any further discussion on the motion of $10,000? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes in the amount of $10,000. Moving into section, or subsection A, voting on supplemental funding request 1824, the ACP National College Journalism Midwinter Convention in the amount of $11,944.56. Table is open for discussion. Eric.
So my concern here with this amount is, it seems like a duplication of an event that they did in the fall, from a fall request. And it's similar people are attending, and that's just my opinion on how I see this request. And I feel I would be remiss to support this amount of money for this request.
Shelby?
I agree with what Eric's saying, but I also asked last week if they would make an effort to bring new people, and they said they would. So I mean, I do think it's like a repeat event, and that worries me. But if they make it like, it sounds like they're going to make an effort for new people to have this experience. So it's not just the same like 4 editors going every time.
Can I be recognized?
Yes.
So, observer 7 students, only 1 has ever been to a conference. The other 6 have not been to a conference. They are going to be our leadership team next year. They need to start transitioning into those roles this spring to kind of get the torch handed over. We have only 1 person repeating, but he very well may be the editor-in-chief spring and fall. And he's only been to 1 conference. So we've had people in the fall, they're not going again. Pulse has got some repeats, but they're all going to be leading the magazine next year. So we've been mindful of that. We don't like to send, it's a special thing to get to go to these, and so we try to get the new crop of leaders into the pipeline.
Thank you. Maddie?
So just looking at, I have the request from last week here, just looking at the breakdown of things. Of course, we haven't been paying for meals, and we haven't been paying for transportation to the airport, and from the airport to hotels. So I deducted $2,420.96 off the top, and I'd like to entertain a motion to approve $9,523.60.
There's a motion on the table for $9,023.56. Is that correct? 60.
$9,523.60.
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second? Stephanie seconds. Is there any discussion on that motion? Stephanie.
Clarification, that you just took off the transportation.
Yeah, so it would be ground transportation from, there's a $480.96 ground transportation, parking, ground transportation, from LAX to the hotel, and food.
Any further discussion on that motion? Yes, Patrick.
Can you get an update, where are we at? Okay, everybody's kind of aware. Resolve the question about the meeting time, correctly. Have you had a chance to find out from athletics about, they didn't use all 10,000?
They did not. They used $900.
So there's really 9,000.
So we're looking at 76,000.
Any further discussion on the motion at hand? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes in the amount of $9,523.56. 60 cents. Moving into section 7, voting on supplemental funding request 1825, the annual field experience in the amount of $10,000. Table's open for discussion. Stephanie?
I think this is a cool thing that they're going to do, especially if they're sending 22 students. So that's less than $500 per student, and we've given a lot more for a 1-person student. I think it's cool that they're staying in a hospital, which is saving them a lot of money, and they're doing a lot. This like every day they do. I just think it's cool.
Alex?
Here, this will be followed by a motion, but really quick preface. I loved this, where they actually showed how much each student actually went out and earned, and for For some people, they really took it upon themselves and did a decent amount. For some others, they not as much, but still. It's a really cool breakdown. It shows how involved they are. It shows how much they want to do it, and especially since they fronted all of the money before even having any of it approved, shows how much they really want to go do this and how much they're actually invested with this. So I make a motion to support them in full amount.
There's a motion in the full amount. Shelby seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Oh, yep, Maddie.
I just like to say I agree with what you say, Alex, and I like that they've done fundraising as well and requested stuff from club setup. We haven't seen that very often.
Eric.
I also like that they are going to continue fundraising at the end of the year so they can, you know, pay more of the expenses themselves. I think they're a personal contribution to these events.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving into section 8, new business, base funding program review for the Career Services Peer Advisor Program.
They get to see the process.
You're all very patient. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was, you should be able to.
Just as a reminder, this is recorded.
I've seen those videos. I don't know what they
I've seen them. I checked to make sure they're working.
I go, ooh, look at the 30K. This is
I saw them.
Okay. So, I'm Vicki Snoot, I'm the Director of Career Services. Kyoko Cleveland, who's the supervisor of the peer program, can be here tonight, so I'm going to have to actually repeat this for her. So I apologize. These are our 3 peer advisors this year, and we usually have 3 to 5 peer advisors. This happens to be 4 students this year. So the program has learning objectives. So the students do develop professional skills. They learn about marketing, doing presentations, how to be professionals, leadership skills, and they also promote our department by being role models to other students. They develop and teach career skills, so they learn how to do resumes and cover letters and mock interviews, how to set up LinkedIn accounts. So this allows us to serve a lot more students, because we only have 4 counselors here in Ellsbury. They help us evaluate our career service programs because we're students, and we depend on them actually to say, is this good stuff for the rest of the students? So they help us decide what kind of events to do. So they're going to do things like have a drop-in resume review and music building. They're going to do a Facebook Live resume Q&A. And they did the Dress for Success workshop in fall quarter, which we tend to do quite every quarter actually. So they also do a thing called Resume Cafe. And so they have some great events. This program has been in place since 2006, and more than 30 students have actually gone through it. So I mentioned about deciding on programs and services. So we ask them for input before we do our workshops, for example, or if we're going to be doing big events, how can we do them better? And we also evaluate those events, and they help do that by collecting. If you've ever been to a career fair, they're usually working evaluations, bringing them in to us. We collaborate with a lot of departments, and these are just 3 of the ones that they've been working with. So they do drop-in hours up in the academic and research commons, the resumes. They work with, refer students to the writing tutors, so it's kind of a nice little partnership there. They have worked with housing and new student programs. The RAs call us up and say, do a presentation in one of the houses we do that. And they also go to the orientation sessions with us. So any kind of new student orientation to meet parents and new students, we would like to bring peer advisors on as well. They also did an exploring majors presentation in one of the residence halls last fall quarter. We do work a lot with clubs and academic departments. So they will do workshops for the clubs as well. And they're making an effort this year to reach out to a lot more clubs because we really want to see that happen. So by doing this kind of outreach, they've served in the last year, not including fall quarter, over 400 students, which is pretty big. And like I said, they make it possible for us to serve a lot more students in general. So here's some comparisons of students that they served. Looks like it went down a little bit in 2016, 2017. But you know what? You can't really count sometimes on data collection. But in fall quarter, this one's true because we're using a different system to collect that. So already they've seen 129 students, which is great. How do they support the university goals? So in indicator 1.1.2, post-graduation job and graduate school placement rates. We help students get the skills they need, right, to get the jobs or internships, and the peer advisors are often the first people that students talk to get that, a resume review, a cover letter review. They also contribute to teaching the skills as well, and they connect with students through tabling. If you've been out in CERC, we've been tabling the past 2 quarters. So we're also reaching out to students through social media. So they have access to all our social media accounts and they can post anything they want as long as it's not offensive on those as well. Programming for focus. So services offered, obviously. We're going to continue to provide drop-in resume and cover letter reviews in the ARC and in Blue on Call. And then we've also trained them to do some mock interviews as well, which will be gold on. They are billable for drop-ins up to 10 hours per week. They also do help students with getting access to the Wildcat Career Network or if they need a LinkedIn photo. So students come by and they take a photo. And they continue to help us with our events, with which there are many. The workshops and presentations, they attend a workshop themselves and sometimes help co-facilitate it with one of the professional staff, and then they develop their own. So we think that's pretty cool. We can develop it right from the beginning to the end. And we're always looking to them for new workshops. Marketing and outreach, as I mentioned, they did tabling. This quarter they're going to table in CERC, Black Hall, Lind Hall, and in the library. And I mentioned the Facebook Live event they're going to do. And I don't know if you guys saw them last quarter, they were running around campus in a golf cart handing out little flyers for our career fairs. We're going to have them do that as well. Their training, they receive weekly training with professional staff and in order to provide quality services to the students. So we don't just let them go loose and do their own thing. We want to make sure they're trained equivalent to the career counselors in the services that they provide. Their wages, as you know, what's it called, basic wage keeps going up and up. Yeah, minimum wage. So this is what they're currently at right now, and we expect in order to reach the $13.50 in 2020, we'll have to increase their pay by 50% in the next couple of years. So any questions? Answer? I believe you got the costs as well for the solution. So, yeah.
Knowing we've had since 2006, has it always been free peer advisors?
No, it's been bigger actually. Yeah. So part of this is the money keeps going up to pay them, and we don't always take work study. If we have a really good student, we'll pay them full to join our team. So that's the majority of the cost is salary actually. Very little goods and service. Thanks, Shirley. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. for the room, since our presenter is not here for the base funding program review for KCWU, we're going to skip him currently and come back. We're going to move into new business, supplemental funding request presentation 1826, CW Push Cinco de Mayo 5K in the amount of $828.10. 10 minutes of presentation.
So, hi, I'm Alexia and I'm representing CW Push today. So, if you guys aren't familiar with CW Push, we are the people who put up the various pantries that are located around campus, and those are free use for all students who are in emergent situations or anything that happens to them that they just need food, they can't afford it, or having financial struggles, anything like that. We keep the pantry stocked year round with food and make them available to use for students. So this year we're planning our first kind of big event, which is the 5K. And we actually, I know the title of it is, right now it says Cinco de Mayo 5K, but we actually got input from Mecha last week. And to avoid any conflictions, especially in the political climate that we're in right now, we decided to take out the Cinco de Mayo part of it, since we aren't really doing any educational activity or any kind of tribute specifically to the heritage or anything. So to avoid any conflicts, we decided to take that out. So it'll just be CW Push 5K from now on. So we are requesting $828.10. About $600 of that we are using for T-shirts to give to the participants. So our whole idea behind the race is to collect food for our pantries and to collect money to buy more food for the pantries as well, because we find that every quarter throughout the year we host food drives and we do walk-in knocks, which is we just go around to local neighborhoods and we really just knock on their door, ask them if they have any spare food they'd like to donate to the school. And we feel that we are just kind of barely scraping by being able to fill up pantries to their fullest, and it is really great to see that our pantries are being used, and we see that the same kind of pantries are going empty each week, which is great. We can see that they're being utilized, but there are pantries in the school that aren't being used, and we feel that that might be because of our the publicity that we have in the school. A lot of people don't know about it, and I think if we had this event, then we could get the word out a lot more, and a lot more people would be able to use it. So for the registration for the race, we would be asking for either 10 food can donations, or as an online option, they can donate $10 online, and $2 of that would be taken away just through the system that we would be using. And then so we'd get $8 profit, and that money would be going towards buying more food for the pantries. And the online option of the online donations also gives us more control over what's going into the pantries. Although we do appreciate every donation that we do get for the pantries, we find that a lot of our pantries are low in protein, very high in simple carbohydrates, really high in sugars, and having that money to be able to control what we're going to buy and put into the pantries will allow us to ensure that students who are in need of food are getting balanced meals, nutritious meals, and everything they need to get them through the day, especially when they're doing school at the same time. They shouldn't have to worry about going hungry. So that's the registration part of the race. And so about $600 of the money that we're asking for would be going towards T-shirts for participants. About $100 would be going for the radio station as the music host, and then another $100 just for supplies like water cups, and race bibs, and also advertising costs some money, so some money for that as well.
Alex?
So this all sounds fantastic. Like I don't want to take anything away from that, but it does show that you do have a club account, so you guys are a club.
Yes.
Is there? So I know that the clubs won't be able to fund your T-shirts and your water cups because they can't do material items like that. But you do have $88 for Berg, $20 for opening the circuit early, and $100 for CWU Hype. Is there any particular reason why you're not also requesting from clubs and orgs for those costs?
Well, I know from our club account, we don't have any money in our club account. And I've been told that Clubs and Orgs doesn't give money for t-shirts or.
Well, so yeah, they wouldn't be able to fund the T-shirts and the water cups, but they would be able to fund the 88.1 The Berg, the opening Surf Early, and the CWU Hype package.
Oh, okay, I was misunderstanding.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay.
It's totally complicated. I was just wondering if there was a particular reason.
Okay. Yeah, so I could obviously seek that as other sources of funding. I should also mention that we are set up for a takeover at Cornerstone Pie, which I know we will be getting a percentage of those projects. That's on March 11th for us. We also have sought out to get sponsors downtown, just local businesses, to see if they want to help fund us, and then in turn we would put their logo on the back of the t-shirt. So far we've heard back from a couple businesses. They've been generous enough to give us gift cards that they say we are welcome to raffle off for them. So we've gotten gift cards from the Soup Bowl and the Huckleberry Cafe. So we have those in hand. And then we've also received, we have a donation from Cliff Bar. They're donating little samples for the race for granola bars. So far we've received stuff, but not funding. So.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with your with the Push Club, that any of the money that goes in there is to pay to stock the shelves, right?
Yeah, that's why our
That's why
account
there's
is
nothing in
empty.
I have another question. The $10 for that, but the two of that's going. Are you all advertising that out there? That the $2 is essentially like a surcharge when you're doing it online. Do people have the ability to donate money in person that would go directly into the club?
So the thing with that, so it's called the Vendini system that we'd be going through for the. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with it. So I was told when I consulted with them that if we were to do a donation option, there would not be an option to set a minimum donation limit. It would just be, someone could donate $1, someone else could donate $50. But we would just be calling it a $10 donation when really in the system it'd be registered as just a $10 ticket. But we thought that it would just be easier to say, as for advertising reasons, 10 cans, $10. So that's why we chose that.
Any further questions? Thank you. Oh, do you see any question? No. Okay, we'll be voting on this next meeting.
Fancy question. I did get a text back from Jeff. He's on his way. We have some relationship with art. I don't know if that's been the students or himself, but he's a
You have two more for us. Yes.
Moving into supplemental funding request presentation 1827, the UCA camp in the amount of $7,880.
Hi, my name's Kelsey. I'm the head coach for the Central Washington University cheerleading team. We're going to go ahead and make our request for our UCA camp, and I have Molly and Claudia here. They are third-year cheerleaders on this team, and the reason that I brought them here today was they have some perspective on this team. They've been here for 3 years, and they've seen the program grow since I've taken it on as a coach, so they have a lot of perspective that they can add to why we're making this request today.
Okay, so the initial request is that we attend a camp every summer. It's a 3-day camp, typically in Spokane, held by the Universal Cheer Association. They're like one of the best, highly trained staff in the cheer world. This request is for us to be paid. For you guys to pay for us to go. Usually we pay out of pocket, which Kelsey will go into further details about the financials. But we also get to go to camp with Division I teams such as Wazoo, UW, and the University of Montana. We also go to camp with teams that are in our division, so Western, SFU, and AAU. And so it's a really good chance for us to not only get involved with other teams in our division, but also to learn things from
teams that are in higher divisions that are learning so much other things than we are, and it's a great way just to like share and be a community in general. And then Claudia is going to go ahead and talk about more.
These are just some pictures from camp, so just a few things like that we do. We learn routines, and right now we're just learning cheers and working with people individually in groups. And then also pictures of a stunt team. And this is kind of just right after, at the end of the camp, everyone kind of just hangs out for a little bit, and you get to meet other teams and take pictures with them and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing here. And then, so the camp promotes like healthy competition between our team, and so against other teams as well. But when you're there, you learn different routines, and you learn cheers and different things like that. And then each night you perform like what you've learned that day. So pretty much you're like pushed to learn things quickly and to work like in situations that you wouldn't normally be in. So like say if something happens at a game, like we quickly can put something together and go out there and perform it. And at the end you get to perform like with other teams. So as Molly was saying, like with Division II teams, we compete against like all-girl Division II teams, but then we also watch like other teams perform, Division I schools and things like that. So we see the things they do that bring more spirit to the school. And then also it's a really good bonding experience for us. So as a team, we're all together for 3 days. So this is really like the first thing we do, like all together. We have a few summer practices before it, and then we're sent off to this camp. So it's kind of where we build our foundation for a team and really become one. So like we're able to work together. It puts us in a lot of different like stressful situations. Like I was saying, you're under a lot of pressure to learn quickly. And they teach us all kinds of new things. Like even if you don't have it down, you move on to the next skill so that you can learn how to do it and bring it back later so you guys can work together and actually get those skills on your own. And then, learning new stunting techniques. So the same thing with that is you have all these coaches that you normally wouldn't get a chance to work with. You're working with like the best instructors in the nation. So it's pretty much they come from all over and they work with you and they teach you how to do it the proper way to like ensure safety and things like that. Because there's lots of things that you don't know because you watch it and you think it looks easy, but when you try it, it really isn't how it seems. So it's good to learn the proper technique so that no one gets hurt. And then it also teaches professionalism and like enforces school pride. So at this camp, we also like not only do we learn how to do skills and improve ourselves as a team, but we improve overall like school spirit. We learn how to like get your team involved and your crowd involved and how to be a part of your university and to represent your university well. So we learn how to, okay, well, here's a photo. Okay, so games. So in these situations, it teaches us how to act in situations. So not like when your team is losing, you still want your students to have a good time and to have a fun time at the game. You still want to be a positive atmosphere and everyone to be into it. It's really hard sometimes when everything is going wrong to make sure the students are still having fun. So that's our job, to make sure that we are always like ready to go and positive. And then the next one. As well as even if it's a game that's pouring down rain, you still want all the students to have fun, and we're still there to show school spirit and show that like you're still there to have fun, and it's just overall for the whole college experience. And we want all the freshmen that are coming in to think and remember that the games are fun, and you'll want to come back, and it's not like, I don't know, it's not a task you will have to do. You want to be a part of it. So back to Molly.
So I'm going to talk about the fundraisers we've done. This year we did our second annual winter cheer clinic. Last year we had about 40 people attending, whether that be elementary school, middle school, or high school levels. This year we increased to 90 people attending. And during that time we teach a dance to all. We separate them up in groups because every age level learns different. And we have the little ones learning a little routine upstairs, and then we have the high school, more advanced girls starting to incorporate them into what it would be like to cheer at college. And so we use those techniques that we learned from the camp to share our experience with them and better show like what cheer is about. We do a performance at the end. So like I said, we put together a routine and we teach the girls like a dance. Typically we put some kind of stunting together, and then if they have tumbling, which like backflips, back tugs, stuff like that, We put that all together, and at the very end, they get to perform in front of their family and friends to show what they've learned. And it's a really cool experience to get to know all these girls. The next one we have, that's our flyer. Really well done. Wait, yeah, go ahead. So another thing we did was a SELA biking camp. So SELA High School had us requested that our team come and teach their team just one-on-one. So it was a really good opportunity to work with a local high school. We did a 2-day instruction with them, and we also taught them some team bonding skills that they could do, like with their team that we had done as a team as well. Another thing that we had done is John Kitna. So that is the golf tournament that is in Clayellum every year, and that's the Central alumni come and they participate in the golf, and they try to do the hole-in-one with winning the Subaru car. With like the professionalism from the camp and stuff, it really teaches us a way to be able to interact with those who are Central alumni so that they can see how our program has progressed in the last few years. And we have, altogether, the Winter Cheer Clinic, we got $1,700 in profit. The SELA biking camp, we got $2,500 in profit. And from John Kitna this year, we got $1,960. And last year, I think we maybe made like $700 at John Kitna. So like the skills we're learning at this camp in turn are really helping us constantly increasing interest in our program and in the university.
So I'm going to talk about the numbers a little bit. Molly did a good job describing all of the fundraising activities that these girls have worked really, really hard at making money for our program. Currently at this time, we have 2 different accounts that we fund through our programs account, which every year we get roughly about $857. This year, the majority of that money has been used to provide breast cancer awareness pom-poms that we use at celebratory games. Previously to me coming on as a coach, they had a set of poms that had been used for years after years after years. So this year I decided to redo that for the girls that had been working really hard. That took up about $800 of our profit from that programs fund. Currently at this time we have our foundation account, which is not something that we're under the athletic department. It's not something that athletic gives us. So this $8,841, these girls right here have worked really hard to earn that money. It has not been something that's been given to them. So when we break down what it is to be a cost as far as a cheerleader, when you sign on to be a cheerleader at the university, based on the amount of money that athletic department is able to give us, every single one of these girls out of their own pocket fork over $1,192 in a 3-month span on their own. This money that they provide covers the cost of their uniforms, which you saw in the previous pictures. Body liners, which is a form of like top that goes under their uniform to keep them warm in those colder games. They have their warm-ups, which you can see them wearing right now. They also come with a jacket because we do have football games where it's extremely cold and it's unsafe and unhealthy for them to be out in that weather and not have clothing that's appropriate. They have stunting shoes, which are a specific type of shoe that allows them to perform stunting safely with the technique that they need. And then also their Nike shoes for other athletic events that they have to do. They come with 2 sets of pom-poms, which these girls do a lot of games and a lot of activity, and 1 set of pom-poms doesn't last throughout the year. Even at this time when they're at games, you can see them kind of falling apart. The weather kind of wears on them too, so they don't last throughout the whole year. This $1,192 also covers the cost of clothing for their camp that they go to. So it covers 2 pairs of shorts, a tank top, and a t-shirt, 1 outfit per day, and then on the 3rd day they wear their uniform. It also includes their athletic backpack and then cheer boats that they have, and it also covers that UCA camp cost that we're requesting today. With that UCA cost, it covers food for the 3 days, hotel for the 3 days, and it covers all of the camp instruction. So it's an all-inclusive cost.
Excuse me, not to cut you off or anything, but in order for them to keep presenting, since their 10 minutes are up, we need a motion. Maddie made a motion to extend the presentation by 10 minutes. Alex seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
So let's break down those prices. So we've got, the girls are paying forward $1,192. We times that by 20 cheerleaders that make the team, brings us to around $23,000. Minus our foundation account funds that we have of $8,841 brings us to $14,999. Our request from S&A is $7,880, which I will break down in a moment. That still leaves the team to pay $7,119, which breakdown is $356 per girl. Even if we were to get the cost covered for the camp, they will still be paying about $350 next year even to be a cheerleader. Okay, so we're not asking for everything, just the S&A, or just the cost of the camp. When we look at the cost, the request amount is for that $7,880. $7,280 is just for that cost of camp, and $600 is for the cost of travel. This $600 is an approximation based on the amount that we used last year. Last year it was $547 based on the miles that were used and the vans that were used at that time. Those prices in August of 2017. So it's an all-inclusive cost based on what we get. This is an invoice that we used this year to go to the camp in 2017. It's not broken down any more than just every single person that's attending. You can see, I'm going to break it down a little bit more for you. Each coach, the cost of each coach is $390, and the cost of each cheerleader is $325. These are prices based on last year. I will say that the year before, there was an increase in the price from 2016 to 2017. So these are 2017 prices that we're basing our request off of. And then as you can see at the final is that $7,280. So I just wanted to really speak lastly on the fact that these girls work really hard on all the efforts that they do to make extra efforts for fundraising. I don't think that they advocate for themselves as much, but these girls work really hard. They do a great job representing their university, and they really appreciate the support in continuing this tradition and going to camp. Here's some last little pictures from football games of things that we were able to work on and learn at camp. Any questions?
Eric, question. Sure. Maybe you can answer this too. It has $390 per coach times 2 coaches. Are the coaches students?
No, the coaches are not students. I have myself and then my assistant coach.
So then we wouldn't be able to cover those, or?
And answering the question, I think and again, this would be allowable within S&A, but based on what we've done in the past is not to pay for advisors or non-students with these. So again, you all have the ability that you can fund that.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, it would be out of the precedent that we've done. Can you go back to the slide where you do the cost breakdown of how much each one of them was paying? I want to make sure I'm understanding. You can hit back on that here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, heck with it. There you go.
Right here. Is this one
The
you're
one more.
This one?
So with this one, so my question is on here, so this is cost for each cheerleader, that's in general for the year, on how much that is, but really, the S&A request is for the full amount for the camp, or?
Yes,
Okay.
so I just wanted to break down to show you the fact that when these girls sign on to be a cheerleader, that's how much they fork over on their own. But we are just wanting to, I was showing that that's how much they pay the camp and then what they would still have to pay even if we were granted that full amount.
Just making sure I understand. Yeah.
Any further questions for Representative? Yes.
Excuse me, sorry, my throat's all messed up. If it says, a couple slides back, where it talks about you, as a cheerleader, you pay for all those things. Sorry, I sound really bad. And then you also pay for UCA camp, but if they've already paid for it, which I'm assuming they have not, then why is that included in?
Great question. So this is a breakdown, that big amount up there, that covers all the stuff that UCA camp. That was from 2017 when we went the previous year. Our request is for August of 2018. So for us to go in 2018.
So So
this August coming up.
Right, I understand that, but if this was for last year, and I apologize if this, everybody else gets it and I don't, but if that's what they paid last year, each cheerleader paid $1,192 that covered everything. What did they pay this year? Because they had to get those things.
This is this year, so 2017-18 season, when they try out to be on this team, they try out in April, and they make the team in April, their season starts in August, and they go all the way from August through February. So August of 2017, all the way through February of 2018. Our request is for August of 2018.
Lacey.
So just to clarify, this is all, they already paid for it in August, so they're asking for next August, but they are going to have to pay for every single thing on that list outside of the camp if you miss a pre-25. Yeah. So it's really just reducing the impact that's coming out of the students' pocket.
Thank you for clarifying.
Eric.
So this is a new request. In the previous years, the cheerleaders just paid on their own without requesting funds from, say, S&A.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, previously, the coaches didn't explore alternate options to having it paid for, and the girls just automatically paid for it.
Any further questions for our presenter? Thank you. We'll be voting on this next week. Moving into supplemental funding request presentation 1828, the MECHA Nationals in the amount of $4,000.
Sounds like we're like, no, wait a minute. I kept turning it, that one was moving up.
I'm sorry. After a while, it's just like, five, I'm sorry. Let's run this down.
Hello everybody, my name's Jacob, I'm an officer for MECHA. I go by he and his pronouns, and I'm a second year student.
Hi everyone, my name is Aurelie Reese. I'm also a second year student. I'm also an officer for MECHA, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Okay, so we're asking for funds for the MECHA National Conference, and I'm going to be passing this around. It's going to be our last year photo book, and the sticky note has pictures from last year's National Conference. So if you don't want to pass that around. Okay, so before we go into the funds, I want to give a little context and exposition on like what is MECHA. So MECHA stands for Movimiento Estudiante Chicanx de Espan. So MECHA originated in the 1960s from the Chicano movement. It originated on the UCLA campus. It's always been a student-led organization and has lived on to this day. The group's original mission was to promote higher education and education of the culture and history of our people. The group stands by this mission still, but it's evolved into a more inclusive form of Latinx activism. So a little bit of what we do on campus. Just this year, we did Boo Central. We did this fundraising event called Illuminate Puerto Rico, where we raised $900+ to help get solar-powered bulbs to Puerto Rico. We are always like taking advantage of meeting with President Governor multiple times, which is the picture on the top right, and so much more. Like recently, we just had a march around campus, which is the top one. Off-campus work, we do Know Your Rights workshops for the community. We also do high school outreach. We don't have pictures of those two because we don't take pictures in high school. And the Know Your Rights workshops, people do feel uncomfortable getting their picture taken, especially when it deals with their legal status. And we do community events, and we do off-campus activism. So the top right is our Machistas at the Women's March last year. And then right now we have some Machistas in Washington, D.C. Pressuring congressmen for a clean rematch, so that's where they're at right now. So what is an international conference? So here's a map of the nation. So the nation is split into regions, which are the different color sections, and then the people from all regions all meet. Oh, and it's also split into chapters. So the people from all regions all meet once a year at this conference, and it's to unify and bring ideas from all around the nation together. So we are in the Alto Pacifico de Aztlan Nation, which is the top left. We are with Idaho and Hawaii, but Hawaii's not on there. So a region is this group, that green section, that's our region. And then the chapter is each school. So we're the CWU chapter. So we're the central chapter, and there's also other chapters in Washington, like Western has one, WSU, Seattle University. Yeah. So why are we requesting funds? So Metro is requesting $4,000, primarily for airfare. The national conference is in March 15th through the 18th, and it is at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. We are taking 10 students, and how we choose the 10 students depends on the dedication, participation, and fundraising throughout the school year, and we'll be fine with the last airlines. The budget. So we do have an account, and in the account is $3,085.05. So Metro approved to give $500 for general admissions and transportation to the conference. The reason why they only approved the $500 is because we do have other events coming up. We have Rosagrad, which is an estimate of $8,600. And we also are doing a regional conference this year, which we're expecting to bring 250 students. And those students range from high schoolers to college students, so we're bringing in more of like the community, especially from the Yakima County. And that's an estimate of $2,500. And then the estimates are based off last year budgets. This is just an Excel sheet. So here's a look at what last year's national conference looked like. In the top right is a group of all the mestizos from around the nation. And our keynote speakers were Nikita Oliver and Geneset Gutierrez. And she was a trans immigrant who is famous for interrupting President Obama during one of his speeches. And on the left side is just the itinerary for that year. So it's very like filled and very like this very. They keep us busy and it's very informative. And they also have people from around the nation come, and anyone's available to give workshops. So we were able to learn from people from California who wanted to give a workshop, and just all around the nation. So what we'll bring back to CWU, our objective will be to learn through these keynote speakers, the direct actions, and personal stories and workshops, in addition to contribute back to our communities at Central and in Ellensburg in general. Since last year, we expanded the teaching of gender and sexuality in the Latinx community. So that was like the theme of last year's conference was gender and sexuality in the Latinx community. We built a stronger community as a region. So our region, we've been working really close with other colleges in the region. So within the past 4 weeks, we did 2 direct actions, and we did those direct actions at the same time as Seattle U, Western Washington, WSU, and Eastern, and Boise State. Yeah. So we also, after the national conference, we'll have the regional conference, and that'll help us format and help bring what the people, like the other Metro students, want to see to our conference. And like I said earlier, we're expecting the 250 attendance. Any questions?
What kind of workshops do you guys do in this?
I attended informative ones about the Metro history, and one about a union in California that helped explain to us, since we are all college students, how to continue on our activism post-graduating. So that one was really interesting to see what we can do post-graduation with the skills that we learned.
Also, I just heard from one of our regional chapter members that they are planning on doing a workshop based off of our chapter, because we have decided as a chapter, our region wants to drop the Azatlan from our
title because we do feel like it is problematic and we want to educate others and other regions of this nation and just kind of explain why we need to be less Mexico-centric and open up to more Latinos and Latinas of our community.
Any further questions for representatives? Thank you. We'll be voting on this next week. Moving back to new business subsection A, base funding program review for KCWU.
Sorry about the late ones.
Glad to hear.
I don't do PowerPoints. You get kind of boring. So I handed a packet to each one of you guys. So you guys can thumb through it as you please as I give you the entire overview of KCWU. This is our 2016-2017 year report. It's on the back side. Gives you guys something tangible to hold on to so you guys can flip through at your own leisure. At the end, we also have the budget breakdown as needed. KCWU 88 won the bird. Your Music Central is, I guess I don't need to go over the budget number. I'm Jeff McMillan, the general manager of KCWU. KCWU is currently funded through S&A fees and sub-allocation fees, sub-union fee, I guess is what we call it. $234,000 comes from the S&A fee funding. 180 roughly comes from the fee funding. Overall, it's $417,000 that comes from total fees from S&A and the sub-allocation. KCWU does a lot for students. When you think about the radio, you think about these dingy college radio stations along the way with just a stack of records or CDs, and that's what KCWU was for a long time. KCWU was a student-run station that played primarily the college style of music as we know it for a long time. Whatever they wanted to play is what got played. About 2 years ago, we made a decision. Travis Box, the general manager, stepped down at the end of 2016, and I was appointed the interim general manager last year. And we ran from there. We changed everything that we do at KCWU to make it the best stop for students. KCWU is, for the 4th year now, recognized as the best college radio station in the nation. Out of 1,700 schools each year, KCWU finishes in the top 5. The reason KCWU this year has finished in the top 5 is different for any other year that we've had. In years past, it was because we had so many students and we were trying so many unique things. This year, we took a professional focus. Our goal was to take students from point A to point B in the process and get them hired in the field. Right now, I've been general manager for 21 months, and 21 students are working in the broadcast industry. We have students at NFL Films. One starts tomorrow at NFL Films. We have students that are working on a show called Fits in the Morning as the associate producer, which was one of the biggest shows in Seattle for years. Now it's actually going to land in Nashville and become a 270-station syndicated show. Jackson Sager, a student who did a political talk show, Conservative Talk, is now on the 5th most listened to conservative talk show, the Lars Larson program, based out of Portland, Oregon. We have students, besides being on the mic, because radio has become more than just spinning records and talking through the mic. We have students that work for the brand department, news department of major stations like Movin' 92.5. 4 members of 88 Wonderberg's team last year are now the head of promotions and marketing for that team and all the leads underneath that. The Hubbard Radio Talent Institute is one of the great things that gave us that opportunity to help become campus and career focused. We want to make sure that we as a station are the campus to career connection for students that want that. But not every student wants that. There's students that want opportunities when it comes to being creative, just want a creative outlet. That's why we made sure not to lose where our roots were. So we started what is called KCW Presents Bird 2, which is now referred to as The Rock. It is our 100% online station through our iHeartRadio affiliate. So it's on iHeartRadio. You can hear it anytime. Right now we average between about 375 listens a day during a weekday. On the weekend, about 1,200 listens of people tuning in around the area, giving great opportunity to multiple students. We have students that are going on the main signal, that are working behind the scenes, and that are going on the iHeartRadio signal for Bird 2, attempting to do essentially what they want to do. A lot of students do have to follow the FCC guidelines that we have, but in the way of being restrictive, in the way of steering them, we always try to keep them on a professional focus. We always try to keep them moving forward, and we always try and hold them to a professional standard. That's what the Bird does just on the air, when you guys flip the switch, what we're doing and what you're hearing. The things we do outside of that are things like Camp FM. So Camp FM was a great chance for us to work with Gear Up, a program on campus where we bring students from basically underrepresented backgrounds that won't have this opportunity and smaller areas. We bring them to campus for about 5 to 10 days during the summer. The last one we tried was 5 days. The first one we tried was 10. 10, they get a little tired. So we think 5 days narrows it down really well. They get to work with our student DJs, and it gives us a great recruiting tool for students that might not have ever thought to come to a campus. They get to stay in the dorms. They stay up in Wendell Hill, and they get a great opportunity to experience that. It's a wonderful thing. We had 16 students last year. Some of the other things we do on campus is create opportunities for students. The Wildcat Sports Radio Network, in its third year, is a sports network that covers Central Washington University football and men's and women's hoops. This year we became the first school to ever put 2 female broadcasters who were students on a broadcast of a Division II sport. We double-checked that numerous times, and we have found out that we were the first one to ever put 2 student female broadcasters on during a live game on a broadcast. That's been amazing for us, giving opportunity where most people thought they wouldn't have them. Multiple students that come to this university say, man, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do fill in X. If there's a way that 88.1 The Bird can give you that opportunity, that's what we want to do. Like, that's the most important thing for us, is to give you a chance to do something you never thought you could do. You have a student that calls play-by-play, Rachel Davey, a science student. Never thought she was going to have an opportunity to be a play-by-play announcer, so she decided not to take the field of communications, decided to go into science, and that's where she was choosing her path. One day, she mentioned to me how much basketball she had played, talked to me about it. I said, you want to try a game? I'll teach you. Spent 3 weeks learning. She went in, did an amazing job when she called her first men's game, and now she's the play-by-play announcer, travels with the women's team for almost every game. Sometimes class gets in the way, so we have to figure that out. We also call Central Washington University football games. We get an amazing listenership during football season. About 1,500 people use our app to listen to games. That doesn't count how many people are tuning in. Roughly, you're getting about, in our estimate, about 20,000 people who tune in doing some of the big games. Obviously, this season was a special season for the Wildcats, but we knew we were getting amazing listenership. 1,400 listeners tuned in on iHeartRadio for the Humboldt State game when ESPN couldn't get their broadcast out, and theirs crashed. They all tuned to us. It was a really great opportunity for us to get our name and signal out there. Along with sports, we do Safeco Field with the Alumni Association, where we send students to Safeco Field. We're the only college, radio station, or college that is broadcasting live from Safeco Field at an Alumni Day. We do a 1-hour-long pregame show for the Mariners game with interviews, including Bob Ford from Alumni. Last year we had multiple members of Rec Center talking about what they offer and some of the different things that they offer to alumni. And it's just a great tool for these students to do something they never thought they would do. And it gives people at the Mariners an opportunity to meet with our team. 2 years ago, Miranda Farlow was a student who did this with us. Right now, she is interviewing for the head of game day presentation for the Mariners. We also have a student who did it last year, Jeffrey Crum, who is interviewing for the position of assistant game day coordinator for the Mariners, all based on connections they made at that event. We've talked about iHeartRadio and how the Bird 2, Bird Rock Radio, is on there. It's a great place you can listen. It's where you hear that old style of college radio that still holds true, but 88.1 The Bird need to find a way to reach more students and raise our numbers. Right now, volunteer-wise, 88.1 The Bird this year currently is about 47 students and growing. Last year, the Bird, with their biggest class, we graduated 56 students. Altogether, we were 90 students strong. With classes and other things, we've had multiple students who haven't come back yet, but all the time, I'm trying to get them to come back and presenting opportunities. The Bird has the capacity to be about 212 students right now. on the air and working in the offices as volunteers and student employees. We currently carry 21 to 22 student employees, plus 7 play-by-play, so we fluctuate the budget accordingly as Wildcat Sports Radio Network. It was worked in for the first time under this budget cycle. We also send students to the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Awards every year in New York. It's been an amazing thing. We took home the 2015 Best College Radio Station at the 76th annual. Now I think we're on this, if I'm doing my math right, I think we're on the 79th if I'm correct. 88 won the Berg has now become, this year, the most decorated college radio station of the decade. 45 awards for out of 1,700 schools that apply every year. We brought home 45 nominations, which makes us number one. We just passed Wisconsin. We're the first school to be nominated for Station of the Year 4 consecutive years. So it's a big opportunity for us to really state our claim. How does that kind of impact us? I mean, the things that our students are able to do. Sophia Ferguson, who's on her way to NFL Films, nominated for Best On-Air Personality for last year. Best Public Affairs Show, Jackson Sager, Jeff Crum, Brett Pantier. All 3 of those students are working professionally in the industry. Van Berryman is the only student not working in the industry because it's still his senior year right now. Yes.
Sorry. His 10 minutes are up. Just thought I'd let you guys know. There's a motion on the table for extending 10 minutes. Alex seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carry on.
My apologies for going long, guys. We also offer the Hubbard Radio Talent Institute, which is a one-of-a-kind opportunity for a campus-to-career connection for students. Basically, we put out an open application to students to work with the Hubbard Radio Talent Institute. Hubbard owns Movin', Warm, and they just changed from Rock 98.9 to Country 98.9 in Seattle, and they own 2 other AM stations. Gives an opportunity. It's funded by Jeannie Morris, the owner of Hubbard. She comes out, brings some of her key members of her team to meet the students. This is how a lot of our students get connection, as well as the heads of Cairo Radio in Seattle, multiple members of Intercom from both Portland, Seattle, and Northern California. It's just a great opportunity for students that want to choose a path in radio, choose a path in marketing, or choose a path in essentially anything that these people can offer, which is quite a bit. It gives them that campus to career connection, and multiple people have used this to turn into other opportunities outside of the radio field. Hey, do you know this person? Could you connect me with them? And it's been amazing. They also get a Radio Advertising Bureau certificate so that they are certified to go out and do radio advertising sales, which is something usually you have to pay for. They get it as part of the program for free. We do multiple events with all around campus. You've probably seen us DJ events, but we also do the Ellensburg Rodeo, New Student Orientation. We've done the Halloween Bash, Wellington's Wildfire. We also do Ellensburg High School Dances. That was a new one that we did last year. That was kind of fun. We do Rock Against Rape, which we're trying to put something together with the Wellness Center to really kind of raise the bar this year with them. And then we did some pretty fun stuff where we actually sent students, and they did for a professional wrestling organization that tours nationally in the Sun Dome. They had the opportunity to call wrestling play-by-play, I guess is what you would call it, for this Lucha Libre show, and they got a call for these big stars, Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy, that came out, and all these guys, and it was a fun opportunity for them. Just something neat that they get an opportunity to do. 2 of our students who play video games play a game called League of Legends. They made a podcast called Central Bot Lane, and that got so big that they were then sent to LA to cover the LCS. They were flown down by the company Riot, who owns the game, and they got to cover this huge thing in LA, these championship games, and got to meet all these players. And this is what we do. 88 Won the Berg is all about opportunity. It's whatever your heart desires. Heck, we can try it. What's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work the way you want it to. Basically, that's what we give to students. We give a chance to live your dream. We give a chance to do things you've never done. We give a chance at opportunity, or we give you a chance to talk on the radio and sound funny a little bit. Thank you, guys. Sorry for going long.
Thank you. No. Are there any questions for our presenter? Joe.
Can you, On the budget info, Jeff, can you give a little bit more? I mean, specifically if you look, because we have 16 going into fiscal 16 and fiscal 17.
Yes.
And the two areas, I mean, if you look at it, there's a substantial. The ones I'm looking at is the drop in the student payroll,
Yes.
which looks substantial, but then the huge drop in the goods and services.
Yes. So 88 won the Berg last year, started the year with a $70,000 deficit. So I had to figure out a way when I took over to make sure we closed that hole. What we did is we shrunk the student positions. We thought that at the time, especially because I was a student employee before. And I remember when we were 37 student employees, students didn't know what their role was, students didn't know what their job was. That was one problem. With so many students around, we spent about $121,000 in fiscal 15 on student payroll. And I think somewhere in the neighborhood of the same in the next one. So we brought it down a little bit. We reined in those positions. We pulled back on some of our big ideas, and we held back for a year. This year we're on pace to, we've risen back up the student payroll. Pace is right now for about 124,000 to 131 for students, and so we pulled back other places. Another place that we were able to make cutbacks was in our goods and services. Right now, 88 won the Berg is nominated. One of the awards is Best Facilities in the Nation. Well, our facilities are best in the nation, even though we were able to kind of take things together, fix things, kind of manage with what we had, because we still had great facilities when we came into it. Now, obviously, some things need to be upgraded. When a student wants to try something unique, we weigh the cost-benefit analysis, and we go spend $6,000 and buy one of these EDM Mixie Wiki boards, and it gives them, but it gives them an opportunity. So now we have students that mix live on the air. Last year we had 6 students that mix live every Friday and Saturday night doing EDM. Now 2 of those students are doing it as a business after their graduation. The chair popped loose there. But it's trying to find a way to save money. And the biggest goal that I always have in every business I've been, I have 18 years of management experience before I took over at CWU, is you always want to hit zero or save money. In the end, we started out 70,000 in the hole, and if I remember correctly, I think we finished 10 to 14. On the good side, I actually looked at that number. What? It was pretty good. It's pretty good. It was pretty awesome. It was awesome. When I did the math, it came out amazing. No, but that's one of the hardest things is you have to figure out where the cuts have to come. And sometimes they can come to make you more streamlined, be more effective with your student jobs. So the students are getting better opportunity and better experience in the position. The other place that happens along the way is that if you cut from goods and services, that's something that you can make up later on. Maybe we can buy something here. Maybe we don't need this here, and maybe we can wait a little while. We put the numbers in and we follow the numbers as close as we can, and when we have to adjust to say we do.
And so with that, so I mean, I know you said the students
Yes.
are back roughly on track with where they were before, now they need the cost savings
Yes.
with all of that. And just for the committee, because I know there's some reference in your year-end report
Yes.
about the Wildcat Sports Radio Network, which is not included in this. That's a separate.
Yeah,
one
not
that'll be
included.
coming
Yeah.
in a future year form.
So this is the first. This current year that we are standing in is the first year that the Wildcat Sports Radio Network was accounted for. So some of those goods and services, some of those things, we had to offset too to pay for travel along the way, including trips to Alaska with the men's and women's basketball team, trips to Montana State buildings. You know, what a wonderful place to go. Some of these other ones, and then we found ways to, if there had to be a drive to Western Oregon to call a game, then I would grab my car. 2 students would get in the back and we'd drive down to Salem and we'd turn around and do that. It was a great opportunity for us to do what we could to give them an opportunity. And that's the most important thing, to find a way to give them an opportunity.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Moving into section 9 of the business. Communications received. I haven't received anything. Moving into section 10, public comment, second call. Any public comment at this time, Joe?
I just want to point out before you leave to make sure if there is any leftover pizza or to grab coffee and those things because they won't be safe. So please take them and get them on the way out. Thank you. To Lacey. Second public comment, Pat ate the last piece of pizza, so there is no pizza. But there is coffee and water if you want to grab those.
Alex.
Real quick, who here is not graduating this year?
Students.
Okay.
graduate.
Okay, so I'm just pointing this out. If any of you are not graduating, this is a great segue into elections. I have a packet here if you want one. You guys have great experience. It might help you out on the campaign trail. Just pointed it out. It's a great job. You obviously get paid for 19 hours a week. You all know that. Please apply.
Or encourage those you may know who might be interested in applying.
Thank you, Alex. Any other public comment at this time? Seeing none, moving into section 11, adjournment. Eric moves, 70 seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned at 6.